in the morning.
Welcome back to our channel, your premier destination for all the juiciest, most jaw-dropping updates from the glamorous and treacherous streets of Genoa City. Today is a beautiful day to unravel a mystery that has us all on the edge of our seats. Grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let us talk about the absolute masterclass in manipulation currently unfolding. The mustache is officially back at the chessboard, and his latest pawn is the most dangerous wild card in town, the amnesiac menace, Matt Clark. But the real shocker that is sending shockwaves through the Newman legacy. His most fiercely loyal soldier, his daughter Victoria Newman, is stepping out of line and preparing to commit the ultimate betrayal to stop him from burning their world to the ground. Victor Newman has always viewed the residents of Genoa City not as flesh and blood human beings with feelings, histories, and families, but as intricately carved wooden pieces on a grand, never-ending chessboard that exists perpetually within his brilliant, calculating mind. We have watched him for decades, sitting in his imposing leather chair at Newman Enterprises, steepling his fingers, and orchestrating the spectacular rise and devastating fall of empires with a mere whisper or a subtle nod. The chessboard is active once again, and Victor is ready to operate with a level of cold, detached ruthlessness that we have not seen in quite some time. When Victor operates, someone in Genoa City is about to become incredibly useful to him, regardless of whether they want to be or not. He does not ask for permission. He meticulously maneuvers his targets into impossible corners where compliance is their absolute only viable option for survival. The current target of Victor's unyielding wrath and strategic brilliance is none other than Cain Ashby, a man desperately trying to rebuild his shattered reputation and prove his worth at the helm of Chancellor Industries. Victor has a monumental, incredibly difficult task that needs to be accomplished, the complete and utter destabilization of Chancellor so that he can swoop in, capitalize on the chaos, and execute a hostile takeover. Cain is the mark, thin-witting king on the opposing side of the board who genuinely believes he is playing a fair game of high-stakes corporate strategy. Little does Cain know, the game was entirely rigged before he even took his seat at the CEO desk. And the man pulling the strings from the shadows is a grandmaster who has never accepted defeat in his entire illustrious, intimidating life. Enter Matt Clark, the current pawn in Victor's dangerous, high-stakes game. Matt is a man burdened by a horrifying past he claims he cannot remember, operating under the terrifying, confusing cloud of amnesia. Victor, in his classic, predatory fashion, recognized a man desperate for redemption, a man who desperately needs to prove himself to the most powerful figure in any room he happens to be standing in. On the surface, this looks exactly like the classic Victor Newman playbook: find a broken, vulnerable man who needs a lifeline, point him directly at the problem, and call it a generous favor. Victor has essentially blackmailed Matt, offering him a stark choice between serving as a corporate mole and saboteur or facing the bleak and forgiving reality of a prison cell for his past heinous crimes. Matt, eager and desperate to survive, has accepted the role of the pawn, ready to do the mustache's bidding. The execution of this corporate sabotage is both brilliant and deeply insidious, showcasing Victor's unparalleled ability to destroy from within. Matt Clark has seamlessly infiltrated Chancellor Industries under the clever, unassuming guise of being a new, trusted business advisor and close confidant to Cain Ashby. He is playing the role of the supportive friend to absolute perfection, initially offering Cain sound, reasonable advice that yields small, confidence-boosting profits to cement his position. But this is merely the psychological setup for the devastating fall. Following Victor's strict, covert directives, Matt is now slowly and methodically feeding Cain disastrous financial advice, pushing him toward high-risk, catastrophic deals, and deliberately leaking distorted, damaging information to the press and competitors. The ultimate goal is to make Cain look entirely incompetent, corrupt, and reckless, thereby plummeting Chancellor's stock value and serving it up on a silver platter for Victor's impending acquisition. It is genuinely heartbreaking to watch Cain Ashby walk so blindly and willingly into this meticulously crafted trap. Cain is a man driven by a desperate, almost pathetic need to prove himself, not just to the ruthless corporate world of Genoa City, but to Lily Winters, the woman he loves and desperately wants to reunite with. His profound insecurity and desire for validation make him the perfect, gullible victim for Matt's psychological manipulation. Cain is so eager to have an ally, someone who seemingly believes in his vision for Chancellor Industries, that he completely fails to see the venom dripping from Matt's advice. Every disastrous decision Cain makes under Matt's influence is another nail in his professional coffin. And the profound tragedy is that he believes he is building an empire when he is actually digging his own professional grave. Now, this brings us to the most fascinating and entirely unexpected twist in this entire corporate saga: Victoria Newman. Historically, Victoria is the ultimate testament to Victor's power and influence over his children. She is his most devoted disciple, the daughter who consistently stands by his side, defending his most heinous, destructive actions with a chillingly calm demeanor. We have seen her justify the unjustifiable, rationalize the irrational, and find convoluted reasons why everything her father does makes perfect sense, even when it is glaringly obvious to the rest of the world that it does not. We have watched her push Nick out of the company, sideline her own mother Nikki for Nate Hastings, and mistreat Adam and Sally just to align with Victor's ruthless vision. Victoria has always been the one to sweep the collateral damage under the rug, ignoring the broken lives and shattered families left in the wake of Victor's decisions. She has always been on Victor's side. Always. But something has fundamentally shifted within the Ice Queen of Newman Enterprises, signaling a massive change in the family dynamics. For the first time in recent memory, Victoria is stepping up to actively stop the madness. She is looking at the chessboard and realizing that her father is playing with a piece that is coated in nitroglycerin. Victoria knows the dark, violent history of Matt Clark. She knows the profound trauma he inflicted on Sharon and Nick, and she recognizes that a man with that kind of darkness lurking in his subconscious is not a reliable corporate asset. He is a rabid dog waiting to snap. The terrifying realization that Victor is willing to risk the safety, stability, and public image of their entire world just to execute a petty corporate takeover against Kane Ashby has finally pushed Victoria past her breaking point. Breaking her lifelong pattern of blind obedience and unwavering loyalty, Victoria has gone entirely rogue. She is secretly tracking every single one of Matt Clark's movements, operating in the deep shadows behind her father's back. This is a thrilling, highly dangerous game of cat and mouse, with Victoria utilizing all the immense resources at her disposal to monitor the man her father believes he has on a tight, unbreakable leash. She is tailing him, listening in on his conversations, and observing the subtle, terrifying cracks in his amnesiac facade. Victoria is putting her own standing within the Newman family and her position at the company at immense risk by investigating Victor's chosen weapon, knowing full well the explosive and forgiving wrath she will face if the mustache discovers her blatant insubordination. What Victoria is discovering during her covert, high-stakes surveillance is nothing short of terrifying and validates every single one of her growing fears. She is uncovering highly unstable, deeply suspicious behavior that proves Matt Clark is far from the obedient, reformed pawn Victor arrogantly believes him to be. Victoria is seeing the chilling moments when the mask slips, revealing the flashes of unpredictable anger, the shadowy meetings that Victor absolutely hasn't authorized, and the subtle signs that Matt's violent, calculating true nature is bubbling just beneath the surface of his missing memories. She realizes with absolute certainty that Matt is not just sabotaging Kane Ashby, he is a ticking time bomb whose inevitable explosion will cause catastrophic, irreversible damage not just to Chancellor Industries, but to the entire Newman family legacy. If I am being completely honest, as a long-time, passionate observer of Genoa City's elite, Victor's hubris in this specific situation is absolutely staggering and incredibly dangerous. His unwavering belief that he can control a monster like Matt Clark simply by holding the threat of prison over his head is arrogant to the point of sheer delusion. Victor is entirely blinded by his insatiable thirst for power, his need to control the narrative, and his petty desire to crush Kane Ashby into the dirt. As for Matt Clark, he remains a terrifying, unpredictable enigma. Whether his amnesia is genuine or a brilliantly calculated performance designed to lower everyone's guard, the core of the man is fundamentally rotten. Watching him play the subservient pawn to Victor while simultaneously manipulating Kane is like watching a venomous snake slowly coil itself around a helpless rat. It is only a matter of time before he strikes, and when he does, the toxic venom will spread far beyond his intended target. On the other hand, my heart aches profoundly for Kane Ashby, who is so desperate for validation and success that he cannot see the sharp blade poised directly at his back. But my absolute greatest admiration right now is reserved entirely for Victoria Newman. It takes a monumental amount of courage to stand up to Victor Newman, let alone to actively, secretly work to dismantle his grand plans from the inside out. Seeing Victoria finally break free from the toxic cycle of enabling her father's worst, most destructive impulses is incredibly refreshing and long overdue. She is no longer just the dutiful, blindly loyal daughter, she is acting as the true, fierce protector of the Newman family, willing to bear the brunt of Victor's inevitable fury to save him from his own catastrophic misjudgment and protect their empire from burning to ashes. So, what is going to happen next in this explosive, edge-of-your-seat storyline? I predict that Victoria will compile an undeniable, ironclad dossier of evidence detailing Matt Clark's extreme instability and his secret, unauthorized activities. She will present this explosive file to Victor in a dramatic, high-stakes confrontation in the CEO office, demanding he call off his attack dog. However, Victor, blinded by his immense pride and refusal to admit a mistake, will double down, dismissing her valid concerns as mere weakness. This will force Victoria to take drastic, unprecedented measures, potentially teaming up with an unlikely ally, perhaps Nick, Adam, or even Lily Winters, to publicly expose Matt's true nature and neutralize him before he can completely destroy Chancellor Industries and turn his violent sights back on the Newman family. The emotional fallout will be biblical, and the Newman family dynamic will be fractured forever. The chessboard is officially set, the pieces are moving with lethal precision, and a spectacular, fiery collision is absolutely inevitable as Victoria Newman prepares to strike the board and declare checkmate on her own father. Do you think Victoria has what it takes to stop Victor's foolish and dangerous plan, or will Matt Clark manage to burn Genoa City to the ground before anyone can stop him? Drop your hottest takes, deepest theories, and boldest predictions in the comments section below. And do not forget to share this article with your fellow Y&R fanatics so we can all obsess over this incoming storm together.